Under the full moon, the night hound made his offer clear. He told Damien Jew Bourgeois that he had come to strike a deal. He would make it possible for Damien to meet his deceased daughter, Juliet J. Bourgeois. However, Damien did not react as the night hound had expected. He said that he didn't know how a capital criminal could arrange a meeting with the dead, and pointed out that the night hound was mistaken about one thing. With a look of pained certainty, Damien revealed that his daughter was not dead. This news caught Vikir completely off guard. The information he had received from Cindy had been clear. Juliet died in a carriage accident when she was young. Vikir warns Damien that he couldn't get out of this by lying. Seeing the night hound's confusion, Damien let the broken remains of his sword fall to the ground. He confirmed that he was not lying and said he would tell a story. Se non waderi. You exist, but you have no presence. This sentence is the creed of the heir to the bourgeois family and the start to a tragedy. The true heir to the bourgeois family is sealed in the family's castle. Using a commoner's identity, they need to prove themselves by becoming successful in the capital with just their abilities. It's to prevent them from becoming a spoiled brat with a gold spoon up their mouth, upholding privilege and elitism. He went on to explain that both he and his elder brother, Bartholomew, each had one daughter, and both girls were sent out into society with their identities concealed to undergo this trial. He spoke of his own daughter Juliet with quiet pride, recalling how much faith he had placed in her. She had immense talent and skill, and when she returned to the family after proving she was the heir, Damien was going to gain back everything his older brother took and become the most powerful person in the family. But then his expression twisted with pain as he remembered how those hopes were cruelly shattered. He recalled the day Juliet came to him in desperation. During her life as a commoner, she had fallen in love with a man of low birth named Romeo, a lowly soldier she met while volunteering. She begged her father to pay for Romeo's hospital bills, saying she was willing to give up her position as a successor if it meant saving the man she loved. Damien described Romeo as a man with nothing, no background, no talent, no future. His only good quality, Damien said, was that he treated everyone kindly, regardless of their status. Damien was filled with rage upon seeing this sight. To him, this worthless nobody, Romeo, had ruined the daughter he had raised so carefully, the daughter he had pinned all his hopes on to restore his honor. As Juliet continued to beg him to save Romeo's life, insisting that the man she loves would die very soon without treatment, Damien's anger only grew sharper. In cold fury, he ordered his men to drag Romeo away. Juliet screamed and tried to stop them, but she was powerless as the guards hauled the frail, sick man off. Damien recounted how everything reached its climax on a rainy day. In front of a sobbing Juliet, Damien had Romeo brutally beaten until he was on the brink of death, believing that such a harsh lesson would force his daughter to come to her senses. Standing over them in the pouring rain, Damien coldly told Juliet to stop being a child. He informed her that because of her irresponsible behavior, she had been stripped of her right to succession and would now live out her life as a failure. But Juliet did not break. Kneeling in the mud beside the man she loved, she told her father that Romeo was precious to her. He was the first person who had ever truly made her happy, the first person who had seen her as herself rather than a tool to restore her father's honor. With tears streaming down her face, her grief slowly twisted into pure rage. Lightning struck repeatedly as she slowly turned to face her father. She accused him of cruelly destroying the one good thing she had in her life. Damien remembered how shocked he had been when he saw that expression on his daughter's face for the first time, a look of genuine, deep-seated hatred for someone. The most devastating part was realizing that every bit of that hatred was directed at him. In that moment of defiance, Juliet helped Romeo into a carriage and fled into the storm, leaving as if she had no intention of ever returning. After he barely got a grip, Damien chased after her with his garrison. And it was then, he explained, that the accident occurred. In the chaos of the storm, thunder spooked the horses. On the slippery, rain-slick road, the carriage lost control and crashed violently. Damien learnt that his daughter was unharmed and in Romeo's arms. Romeo had shielded her with his own body, sacrificing his life to protect hers. After the accident, when Juliet had woken up and found out Romeo had died, she fainted from the shock and has yet to regain consciousness. Damien finished this part of his tragic story. He revealed that she had been in a coma ever since and had never opened her eyes again. Overwhelmed by sadness and desperation, Damien clutched his head in both hands. He cried out that he had already tried everything he could think of to awaken his daughter: medicine, poisons, even holy power. But every attempt had failed. With tears in his eyes, he confessed that he would give anything, his entire fortune, everything he possessed, just to see Juliet's smiling face one more time and offer her a sincere apology for what he had done. Regrets in the form of tears started to pool on the ground as he cried endlessly. Seizing that moment, the night hound stepped forward and provided an offer. Looking at the tears streaming down the broken man's face, it was clear the offer had struck deep. He asked Damien if, in exchange for giving him a chance to apologize properly to his daughter, Damien would truly be willing to hand over everything he had. The scene shifted forward 1 month. In a large, candlelit room inside Damien Ju Bourgeois' mansion, Damien stood with the night hound before a large bed surrounded by candles. He explained that his daughter laid in that bed. On the bed, surrounded by a sea of white and pink flowers, lay a beautiful young woman with long white hair. Damien introduced her as his daughter, Juliet Ju Bourgeois. As the night hound looked at the comatose young woman, he found her face strangely familiar. Just then, Damien turned to him with a questioning look, gazing at someone's little hand that was grabbing onto the night hound. He asked why the night hound had brought a child with him when their arrangement was supposed to be kept in the strictest confidence. From beside the night hound's cloak, a small girl in a witch's hat and robes timidly peeked out. It was Pomerian, looking all cute in her witch outfit. The night hound placed a reassuring hand on Pomerian's head, causing her to blush. He explained to Damien that she was a very skilled mage who would call out to his daughter's soul. He said he personally vouched for her abilities. Crouching down to meet her gaze, the night hound encouraged her. He told Pomerian that her ability to sense souls is the best, assuring her not to be scared and just show him what she was good at. Clutching the tree of souls, Pomerian nodded with renewed confidence, replying that with the tree branch he gave her, she could definitely succeed. With her resolve hardened, Pomerian stepped onto a stone pedestal at the foot of Juliet's bed, gripping the tree branch with both hands as she prepared to begin the soul-summoning ritual. As she focused, her eyes began to glow with an intense purple light. The candles surrounding the bed flared up with the same purple flames, and a powerful surge of magic erupted from her, filling the entire room with swirling violet radiance. The spell was a success. A glowing spiritual form began to rise from Juliet's body. Damien watched in stunned silence as the spiritual energy slowly took shape before him, barely able to whisper his daughter's name in disbelief. However, it was not only Juliet's soul that appeared. The spirit of Romeo materialized at her side. Damien watched, frozen, as his daughter's spirit gently rested her head against the shoulder of the man she loved. The sight of the two lovers reunited in spirit completely broke him. Overwhelmed by decades of guilt and regret, he collapsed to his knees. With tears pouring down his face, he confessed that he had been wrong about everything. He begged them not to forgive him, calling himself a piece of trash for ignoring his daughter's feelings and trampling on their sincere love out of selfish pride. He said they could resent him for the rest of his life if they wished, clutching his chest as his heart hurts. But through his sobs, he pleaded that Juliet still had to live, and that was why he needed to wake her up no matter the cost. His emotional confession was suddenly interrupted by Pomerian. She pointed toward the two spirits and revealed a shocking truth to Damien. She revealed that Juliet could come back on her own. She started to speak for Juliet, telling Damien that she wasn't coming back on purpose and that she was going to Romeo and die together. Stunned into silence, Damien looked at the spiritual form of his daughter and asked if what the little girl was saying was really true. Juliet's spirit silently nodded, confirming that she had indeed chosen to remain in a coma to stay with Romeo. The truth shattered what little hope Damien had left, and he wept openly, his face a portrait of despair and heartbreak. He was forced to confront the full weight of his actions. It was his fault that Juliet had nearly died. Romeo had been forced to sacrifice himself to save her. To see Romeo, Juliet was willing to accept death. He understood, with painful clarity, that he could not turn back time. No matter what he said and no matter how deeply he regretted his choices, nothing could change the tragic past. A new resolve slowly settled over him. He realized that clinging to regret alone was meaningless. Now, in this final moment, he had to decide what he could still do for his daughter. Pomerian's urgent voice explained that while Juliet's soul had merely left her body, Romeo was truly dead, and that the dead would soon have to pass on to the afterlife, as that was the law of the world. Looking at the two spirits, Damien finally understood what he needed to do. The last thing he could ever do for his daughter. Damien knew that the union of souls cannot be changed with time. Those words drew Vikir's attention. And so, the scene shifted into a spiritual wedding ceremony. Damien acted as the officiant, standing before the spirits of the bride and groom. He asked Romeo and Juliet, do both the bride and the groom accept their eternal destiny to be together and vow to sincerely love and embrace each other's soul? Those words were the final gift Damien could send his daughter off with. And he does so, with the happiest smile on his face. In the spiritual realm, the souls of Romeo and Juliet joined hands. Responding to the officiant's question, they both answered with a clear and joyful yes, their spiritual forms glowing brightly with happiness and tears of relief. Looking at each other with pure affection, Juliet told Romeo that she loved him, and he tearfully returned her words. With a peaceful, accepting smile, the angelic Damien, acting both as father and officiant, declared that the two were now officially husband and wife. With the ceremony complete, Juliet's spirit turned and flew toward her real, grieving father, calling out to him one final time. As they embraced, she tearfully apologized to him, but also thanked him with all her heart for choosing her. Damien held his daughter's spirit tightly, his entire body trembling under the weight of that last, precious moment. His daughter was finally happy. As the night hound, Pomerian, and the spirit of Romeo watched, Damien gave his final blessing. He told Juliet to stay happy. He insisted that she and Romeo must find happiness together in the afterlife. He then told his daughter that he loved her. As tears streamed down his face, his arms shaking as he held her for the last time. As his words of love reached her, Juliet's spirit began to glow with a brilliant golden light and slowly faded. In her final moments, she returned his words, telling him she loved him too and calling her dad one last time. Damien was left kneeling alone in the now quiet room. The darkness was gone, replaced by a bright golden light. The echo of his daughter's voice calling for her father was the only thing that remained. Back on the bed of flowers, the long ordeal was finally over. A serene, peaceful smile rested on Juliet's face as her soul, now at peace and reunited with her lover Romeo, quietly departed from this world and onto the next.
Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.